I think I come across to most people like an egomaniac artist. I think it's okay for me to be dead now. You know, I mean, I'm not so narcissistic to think that my life can't end at 52 or 53. I mean, it can be done. I've enjoyed my life. I've been here. Now I'm in pain. I can't stand it anymore. It's okay that my life is over. I've enjoyed the 52 years I've had on the planet. It's really okay with me. I can be finished. You know, it's all right. The world is going to go on without Victor Del Toro. The world does not need Victor Del Toro. I mean, I'm not trying to be funny. I'm not trying to be modest. It's okay. Y'all can continue without me. You know, that's the way I feel about it. You know, I'm kind of rethinking the whole film. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking it should be about you. I'm thinking we should spend our time talking about your life. Yeah. Looking at pictures of you.
Right.
You don't agree with that?
No.
No, I understand.
You are way more interesting. Maybe when I'm 52.
That may not be true, Brendan, but I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I'm curious about what's underneath your interest in all of this. When I rifle through the likeliest possibilities, mm-hmm. all I can come up with is your own fascination with dying, mm-hmm. or I can't remember what the other thing I came up with was.
I mean, I'm interested in death, but I don't have a lot of firsthand experience with it. That might be part of it. I feel there's something about your story that people need to hear because people don't talk about it.
Well, the one sentence version of what I'm experiencing is how much loss can you store up before you just can't handle anymore. Mm. You know, it's the loss of the use of my healthy body that pushed me over the edge. I mean, that's what made me.
Suicide is the only word in our English language for the voluntary ending of one's own life.
We don't require more than one word for it because we only have one way of thinking about it.
Suicides are rash, violent, self-hating acts that almost invariably look like the giant fuck you that they are to the people left behind.
But suddenly I got this terrific, freeing, fucking idea to go public with it.
I'm planning to end my life, though I haven't settled on a time frame yet.
I'm writing to prevent you from feeling shocked, hurt, and maybe even betrayed by an event so easily seen in a much too conventional way.
Why am I ready to move on? Is the pain that bad? Well, bad enough that I can honestly say it sucks dead moose cock.
I moved to LA and, you know, I was having my life. I was going to the gym. I was thrilled to be back, and I started feeling shitty. I started getting fevers, all of my joints started aching. Went to an infectious diseases specialist who said, you know, did a bunch of tests and said, you've either got cancer or you've got some serious rheumatoid issue. And sure enough, my bone marrow was loaded with this cancer. So then they gave me 6 chemotherapies, and I was like the king of the cancer beaters. I mean, I had an ecstatic experience on chemotherapy. I felt great because they pump you full of steroids.
He was really thinking, okay, I'm going to get through this. I'm going to be fine after all of this. The back pain is gone.
And I really believed I was going to get my life back at the end of the chemotherapy.
He had gone through a cancer battle where he seemed to have come out of it a changed person. He seemed to have had this epiphany about the love in his life and the people in his life and how precious life was. And then when the pain things started happening, that all changed.
Gets through chemo, went into remission, you know, didn't actually kill all the cancer because that's not the case with the type that he had. And then the other symptoms started to come back. The back pain started to come back.
Within the month of ending chemotherapy, I started having all this awful neck and back pain. And I started taking a lot of Advil, started taking over-the-counter painkillers, because I didn't want to stop going to the gym and working out. The whole thing was that I wanted to keep my body in good shape and feel sexually alive, and over a period of the next couple of months, that became impossible because the pain was too great. I started going to the pain clinic. I started getting these injections in my neck. I was seeing a chiropractor. I was having acupuncture. I was doing all this shit, you know, and none of it was really working. So now I'm just on oral medications. I'm on Percocet, Scalaxin, which is a muscle relaxant. I can't sleep without Ambien CR and a muscle relaxant, which I took both of those last night, and I lied awake in bed till like 4 o'clock. I couldn't sleep. I was Mr. Bodybuilder for years. Yep. I had a really beautiful body, yeah. I had a beautiful body 2 years ago. Then I got the cancer. And all the pain started, and that was the end of it. I can make my peace with the fact that I'm an old guy now and I'm not sexy the way I used to be. I mean, everybody deals with that. But the pain, I just can't keep doing it.
On a scale of 1 to 10, where is the pain level at on average?
Between 6 and 7. I'm talking about without the drugs.
Yes.
6, 7, 8 on a bad day. See, I'm never drug-free anymore. I'm always drugged. I mean, I had a Percocet right before you came, so the pain isn't so terrible now.
He went out to a birthday dinner with me and some other friends, and, you know, he could barely, you know, he kept having to stand up because he couldn't sit because it, you know, hurt his back. He was, you know, taking lots of pills. I mean, you know, he was being his wonderful, funny, inappropriate self, but, you know, he was also in a lot of pain that he wouldn't really let you see that much.
Do you purposefully hide your pain from people?
My back really hurts right now. Am I hiding it from you?
Yes.
I don't think I'm hiding it from you. I'm just not going, oh, this really hurts, you know? It just hurts. I mean, it does, it hurts. But I'm not focusing on it in the sense that I'm not calling your attention to it at every moment. Is that hiding it?
Well,
do you see what I mean?
I guess what I mean by...
Oh, but there are a few people who've said, you know, you don't seem like you're in that much pain. It's like, well, do you want me to narrate my pain for you through the whole visit? Mm-hmm. For you to understand that I'm in pain through the whole visit?
Right. Right. No.
No, I wasn't talking to you. I'm saying, you know.
But yeah, I mean, that makes sense.
But yeah, I'm in pain right now at about a 4 or a 5 on that 10 scale, yeah. That's what the Percocet affords me.
A lot of people didn't see him first thing in the morning before he had taken a Percocet. They just did not see him not even able to straighten up. And the fact that, you know, one of the things that allowed him to straighten his body out was laying in a blazing hot bathtub of hot water.
You know, I have to make a decision about this class.
So the class is happening?
No, not necessarily. It's happening only if I decide it's happening, and that's going to be directly in proportion to when I'm ready to go. So I'm sort of in the dilemma of it right now.
How do you feel about what people think and what people are going to feel if you...
Well, that's why I'm here.
That's what's keeping you here?
That's what's keeping me here. Because I don't want to make the people who love me sad.
When I first read the very first blog where he talked about considering it, I was pissed because I felt like he was abandoning me. I took it very personally.
My first reaction was, I'm not even worth living for. You know, and the kids, and he said, honey, I love you all, but no, the pain is too great.
I let him know that, you know, I did not want him to do it, but to try to talk him out of it, that, you know, I just didn't really see any possibility in that happening. And, you know, I knew that everybody else was trying to do that. My way of handling it is to explain myself fully to everybody, answer all their questions, hug them, tell them I love them, let them in on whatever they need to understand about me and why I'm making the choice that I'm making before I go. That's my concession to
how much I love the people that I love. I mean, I don't want to cause them pain, but you can't ask somebody to keep living for you. You just can't do it. You can ask, but
I can't ask you to live to teaching stuff, but the class would be really beneficial for me. You know, just saying.
you know, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm struggling with it, Brendan. I really am. I'm sorry, honey.
That's okay.
You know, I have to make a decision about it, because if I don't do this class, that's it. I mean, it's the only thing that will keep me alive. So now I've really got to make a decision. I mean, it's...
You're gonna have to open your fortune cookie.
It's so complicated emotionally. Oh, I never read my fortune cookie.
Oh, I would love you to read your fortune cookie.
Really?
Yeah.
You will never teach class again and be dead in 3 weeks.
Wow. Wow, those things are fucked up.
That's pretty prophetic.
I think a really amazing class could be the inspiration or the reinvigoration that he needs to find something worth living for and keep going in life for a while, you know?
Yeah.
It's more than just a final gift for a dying guy. It's a chance to turn a dying guy into a living guy.
Let me just start with some, bullshit at the top. I want to be very clear, we're here today because Brendan has decided that I'm interesting enough to make a movie about. That's not why I'm here, all right? I'm here because I'm interested in teaching what I love to teach to those of you who are here today. I've never done this in front of cameras before. I do have a little crush on all 3 of the cameramen. They're finding this out right now for the first time, or perhaps they sensed it. Do they all have to go to some modeling agency to get a job? I don't know about that. It's sad to be old and horny. Okay, so here are the rules for this exercise, all right? 2 people come up here. One of them makes a statement about something they see in the moment to the other person, in the moment. And then the other person repeats it from their point of view. It must be the truth. I can't say to her, "Oh, you're so beautiful. I'd really like to make love with you." I'm an old homosexual, so that's a lie. Now, if it takes hold of me in that moment, hey, go for it. I'm open. Do you see what I'm saying? But it's got to be the truth. Otherwise, it's manipulation. I'm trying to see how she'll feel if I make her uncomfortable, the old guy who's teaching the class. Okay? So who'd like to begin?
Redheads really turn me on.
Redheads really turn you on.
All right. The line says you're hot, correct? Yes?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
If we turn off the sound, what does the behavior say? His behavior.
Pretty non-sexual, actually.
The behavior says nothing. So take a moment, let yourself breathe. If you have a sexy partner who turns you on, let yourself feel it in your body a little bit more. Exactly. She repeats it how?
Very physically. She takes it in and
She hears it as heat, absolutely. But I'm dying to know, I don't know about the rest of you, I'm dying to know if she thinks he's cute. And I can't tell. I'm guessing she does, because I think he's cute. You see, that's what the audience will do to you. If you don't let them know, they'll project their own feelings onto you.
Victor's teaching style is unlike anything I've ever experienced. He's so much more interested in the connection between the 2 actors than in what's coming out of their mouths. Because if that doesn't sound true, you have nothing.
Almost all of it looks very polite. Yes? Very deferential, very accommodating to the other person, all right? We're gonna take 5 minutes. And I want you to go not talk to each other, shake off all the politeness, all the accommodation. It'll stick to you like fucking glue, because it's been drummed into our fucking heads since we were this big, okay? It's poison for the actor. This desire to be polite, it is poison. Loved teaching, because it was a place I could tell the truth.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, people are crazy when it comes to telling the truth.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's hard to tell the truth. A lot of times it's hard to tell the truth. Because we are selfish, needy creatures, and we do stupid things.
Mm-hmm.
But the only way I've ever grown or changed is by facing up to those things with the people that I'm closest to. I mean, I don't know how else you do it.
I have a question. We live in society. For
Yes,
things
unfortunately,
okay.
that's true.
And we learn behavior.
Yes.
And you're saying you have to give that behavior up. I worked to lose these boundaries here.
Right.
And I've gone out in the world.
Yes.
And people are shocked.
Yes. Fuck them. Is that what you wanted to hear?
Yeah, maybe.
Fuck those people and their conventional bullshit. If you choose to engage socially on their terms, that is your choice. Well, human beings are ridiculous. They really are just ridiculous creatures who buy into so many lies about the culture and the world they live in, and then they perpetuate it by lying to the people they love. I mean, and the people who are angry at me for my choice are angry because I've essentially told them the truth.
Who's angry at you?
Well, one or two friends who don't talk to me anymore, who don't want to deal with me because of my imminent departure.
I believed Victor, and a lot of our friends believed that Victor was very depressed. And he refused to acknowledge that. He would say, I'm not depressed.
The definition of clinical depression is on the books, and I don't exhibit most of the signs. You know, my doctor asked me several questions and said, yeah, you don't really fit the profile. You know, I don't lay in bed all day thinking negative thoughts. I'm not in this place of being completely inert.
Knowing somebody, my father, being clinically depressed, my father does not have the capacity to have the kind of conversations with me that I had with Victor. Sure. My dad does not have the capacity to really love someone in a deep, sincere way. And with Victor, my conversations with him were so clear, so absolutely 100% focused on me and what he knew my needs to be. And that was a sign to me that it wasn't about depression, that it really was about something deeper.
Well, I asked Victor if he was depressed, and he was like, sweetie, of course I'm depressed. Look at what's happening to me.
Do you think he was depressed in the clinical sense?
You mean, do I think that he had like some sort of chemical imbalance in his brain? Nah.
I know lots of people who are way more depressed than me.
Right.
Way more depressed than me. They just have a much lower threshold for what they're willing to have their lives be about.
I think depression was a very, very strong part of his makeup. And I say this partly because both Shelley and I take very mild meds for panic disorder, anxiety. I mean, it's in our family, but the pain had to be the major cause. Living, if you can call it living, in a condition where you can't move without pain. You can't sit up without pain. Had at that point trumped the depression that he had suffered with most of his life.
I'm sure there are people who are in pain who then find a way to alleviate the pain. Mm-hmm. From the diagnosis I've gotten from my doctors about the degenerative discs, there's no solution to the pain. I have to live with it. That's essentially the diagnosis for many doctors.
Mm-hmm.
You said you were playing tennis this morning. I thought, oh God, I would love to play tennis. I can't do it. There are people in wheelchairs who are happy to be alive, and my response is more power to them. I mean, I don't mean that sarcastically. I think it's great. Without a functioning body that doesn't hurt all the time, I just have no desire to keep living. None. And that, my sexlessness is key, and that's all about the pain and all the other stuff. It's been almost a decade since I had sex. I mean, it's been that long.
What is it about longevity that we prize so highly? I don't see dying voluntarily at 55 as any sadder or less fortunate than dying in a nursing home at 80. In fact, I see it as more fortunate.
Well, my dad was always sick. I mean, my dad had a million operations. He was always sick. He had congestive heart failure. I mean, he lived way past the time when he should have lived because he was taking all these medications that were keeping him alive, and he was terrified of dying. So he kept himself alive way past when his body wanted to die. So he was always in terrible pain. He was always in pain. And this is the norm in America. I mean, this isn't an unusual story. I mean, my father said, "Oh, Victor, I'm ready to die." I took care of him for 4 years. Near the end, he was ready to die. I said to him, "Dad, stop taking your medications and you will die." And he said to me, "Oh, Victor, I can't commit suicide." And I said, "Well, Dad, I don't consider that committing suicide, but if you do, then you're going to have to suffer some more." And he suffered terribly at the end, terribly. When you have a script, your job is to make the audience believe that you are authoring these words. Make the audience forget that somebody wrote these words, you memorized them, you rehearsed, and now you're presenting them. If the audience is aware of that while you're acting, your acting sucks, okay? It's no good if they're thinking, "Oh, what an interesting line." The best question, I really believe, is how would you behave and how would you say this if it were really happening? If I had to pick one of these guys to play my son, I would pick Bill, because I know him the best. I've known him for like 2 years. We've had some serious talks about things that have happened in his life or my life that have been painful.
He really just became this supreme mentor for me. And the way that he did that is that he shared himself completely. He told me every embarrassing thing about his life, and he made me feel comfortable enough to share that stuff with him. I'd never been that honest with anybody. My own father, who I had an amazing relationship with before he died, like, we never talked about a lot of the stuff that I talked about with Victor.
I'm 10 years younger than 7 years. And I was referred to as an accident. My mother was taking medication for her thyroid, which apparently is a fertility drug, doubles as a fertility drug. And they were, of course, using the pull-out method. They were also, Catholic.
The old pull-out method.
Excuse me?
The old pull-out method. Never works, does it?
I guess it works okay if there's, if you're not a big pre-dribbler and her cycle is extremely regular, then I guess it works okay if you stick to it.
I've been sticking to that pretty well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's your method of birth control?
Really? That's a terrible method, dude.
She's not on any kind of birth control?
No.
Oh, you're going to have a child soon.
Dude,
Are you serious? Is this the truth?
Do you want to knock her out?
No, it's sometimes the truth. It's not always what we do.
Out of your fucking mind.
I guess I didn't assess the behavior as reckless as...
How can you not assess that as reckless? See, he's your pal, so he can kind of laugh about it. But I have this kind of more parental role, so I'm like horrified.
Right.
Yeah. I'm like horrified. If I were your father and you told me this, obviously you would never tell this to him. But if you told me this and I was your father, I would grab you by the back of the hair, probably, throw you into a chair and say, "What the hell are you thinking?" Isn't that how fathers behave?
Pretty much.
That's why I never had children, because I never wanted to have the moment like that with my child.
Okay. So what else should we talk about?
Well, it looks like you have some texted something
I
there.
make sure there's nothing else you want to talk about first, because you get a lot more enjoyment out of your conversations, I think, than
Way more.
asking you questions.
Yes, way more. Well, because this is something that really matters to me. My past doesn't matter to me that much. It's over. I mean, that makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know, you matter to me in a way that I don't matter to me. You know, sweetie, it's upsetting when you find out that somebody you love is engaging in very dangerous behavior. I mean, I freaked out when Bill told me he was thinking of becoming a policeman. I freaked out. Bill and Brendan?
You're a better looking version of me.
I'm a better looking version of you.
Repeat. You're a better looking version of me.
I am a better looking version of you.
Did you ever feel competitive with me as far as like Victor's affections?
I did, but I also think that Victor encouraged it, and I think he liked it.
You are full of shit.
You couldn't be more full of shit if you were eating shit right now.
Okay. You know, this has the potential to work if they will describe the behavior instead of relying on these testosterone-driven generalities about being full of shit. It just looks sort of hostile, but in a disconnected kind of way. You know, Brendan, it's hard to see what you're seeing. It looks like you have some agenda about the way he's behaving that it's just tough to get in on from the outside. You've got to let go of whatever you're defending in that moment and just connect with him, okay? It's not about winning a contest. Look at me, don't look at the floor. Are you feeling sad, guarded, and disinterested in those moments?
I'm not feeling disinterested.
That's good.
And I don't feel guarded.
Where did all your sadness come from? Do you know?
I mean, a lot of it has to do with you, I think, and stuff like that. But there's also, I don't know. I intensely disliked Bill so much in that moment.
Yeah.
And I
That
just...
was so strange.
He told me, oh, you know, Bill this and this, or Bill's got bigger balls than you.
Right. I mean, it was almost like he created a sibling rivalry, which was interesting because he for sure saw us in that light as his like adopted children almost, you know.
What advice would you give to someone else that is considering ending their own life?
Tell the truth to the people you love. Don't be ashamed of your decision. Don't, you know, if you know that's really the right thing for you, tell the people you love, say goodbye and go. But to just kind of disappear on them, that's really, I don't approve of that at all.
Do you think it's possible for someone to come to that conclusion without being in the pain that you're in?
Oh, sure. I mean, I think, yeah, I mean, mine is physical pain, but I think if your wife and 2 kids got killed in a car crash and you just can't go on without them and you just don't want to face life alone, it's your right to put an end to your life. I don't think it has to be physical pain that's causing you to make that choice. I mean, that's what I mean. It's up to each individual to say, what can I live with? What can I not live with?
How can you...
What can I do without? What can't I do without?
How can you distinguish between like somebody that's genuinely mentally ill that wants to kill themselves and somebody that, you know, just has mental pain?
I don't know enough about mental illness to be able to answer that question.
I wonder if you are able to tell. That would be my worry, is that...
If I'm mentally ill, you mean?
Well, I'm not worried that you're mentally ill because I know you, but I guess what I'm trying to say is there's few conditions, it seems to me, where you would say, hey, don't do that. Don't end your life, you know? You seem to be more like, if somebody wants to end their life, meh.
Why? If it was somebody I love, I'd certainly want to hear their reasons.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you told me you wanted to end your life, I would want you to give me a thorough explanation of why. And if I thought that you were deluding yourself in some way and that things could, and the reasons that you wanted to kill yourself for could change, then I would try and argue that to you.
How would you describe your decision to a 6-year-old?
I wouldn't describe it to a 6-year-old, no.
You keep them in the dark?
Fortunately, I don't have any 6-year-olds I have to answer to. If I did,
If I had one right around the corner that said,
I'm just saying, I might have to have made a different decision. If I had a 6-year-old nephew, I don't think I'd be able to do this.
Really?
Oh, I don't think so.
Why?
I just don't think I could do that to a child. If there were a child in my life that loved me totally, I wouldn't be able to do this. I wouldn't be able to do it. You know, we all have these wells of feeling and experience that are part of who we are. That is what comprises our character. When people act too much, it's invariably because they won't allow themselves to simply relate to what they've already got. So they create behavior that's false on top of what could be happening, what could really be happening, all right? You know, a man that I loved very much in my life died of AIDS. It was very painful. I still miss him. I know there's a well of loss inside of me that's connected to losing him. Am I prepared to connect that to an impulse that comes up if I see sadness in Dana? Again, I'm not thinking, oh, Scott's dead. Do you see what I mean? But I know he died. I know I was there. I lived my years with him. Am I prepared as an actor? Am I willing to allow that the depth of that loss to come into the moment? Perhaps I am, or perhaps I'm not. I met Scott at the beach, what was called the Rocks in Chicago, the gay beach. I was sitting on a blanket working on the script. I had rehearsal that evening. And this young man parked his towel about 50 yards away, and I was like, boing! The thunderbolt. He told me on our second date that he was positive and expected me to, you know, just say, oh, I'm not interested then, I guess. And I wasn't really fazed by that. I just wasn't afraid of AIDS. I mean, I had been having safe sex. And he was just very upfront about it, told me what it entailed, what pills he was on, what stage he thought he was in terms of his health. And, you know, I was just so crazy in love with him. He was an amazing guy. I mean, he was just refused to give into it. I mean, he hung on to the very, very, very end and suffered, you know, more pain than I can even begin to wrap my head around. There was no crying when he died. We just kept saying, I love you, I love you, I love you. You know, and the further away he seemed to get, the more we kept kind of insistently feeding it in. And I still miss him. He was an amazing guy.
I remember scooping Scott's ashes into 6 little containers with my mother's old Sunday gravy ladle. It was a surreal moment. I was preparing to give a part of him to each of his closest friends to scatter in their favorite place of tribute. And I remember thinking while scooping, this fucking disease has no power over you anymore, honey. It's been burned out, and good riddance. You know, the AIDS thing that, you know, both Victor and I lived through, and being really familiar with death kind of makes it, I don't know, it changes things. Just seeing it so much makes it not something odd or something unknown. And I think it makes some people cherish life more and others maybe not so much.
You know, watching him suffer and go through all of that was definitely the beginning of my formulaic of this notion that I'm just not going to suffer to that degree. I mean, I'm almost to a pain threshold now where I'm just clear I'm not going to take much more. In case any of this footage gets used for you viewers at home, Brendan has asked me to drive past the places in LA that make me the most unhappy.
Again, that is a
And so now we're about to do that. This is where I used to live. Okay, this is probably the most depressing place in the city for me. This is Gold's Gym here on our left.
Yeah.
I came here for years and years, always loved working out, always had fun. Met lots of sweet, sexy guys here over the years. Literally have not driven by here for the last 3 years. But that's like a knife in my heart. I used to get up early in the morning and go work out. That was how I started my day for 25 years. It was the thing I loved more than anything.
Do you think you could start working out again?
No. If I could start working out again, I would have. If I lift anything that's even slightly heavy, my neck is just a wreck. No, can't do it. In fact, there's some water in the back seat of this car that I'm going to have you guys carry into my house for me.
I've never heard what happened to your mom.
Yeah, I mean, the loss of my mother was horrible. I mean, my mother was this incredibly sharp, opinionated, bright, extraordinary woman. There were no other women like my mother in her era. There were none. Nobody talked openly with their kids about sex. No women spoke their mind the way my mother did. She started losing her memory in her early 70s. But see, she had all this horrible anxiety because she knew she was demented. Some people who get demented don't realize they're demented, so they get sort of like childlike, but she knew there was something wrong. She always said, Victor, we live too long, our bodies are falling apart, why do we keep ourselves alive with all these drugs? And I totally agreed with her. So I felt all this terrible guilt that I couldn't legally end her life because there was nothing I could do about it. I would have had to risk prison to put her out of her misery, which I considered several times. But, I just thought, ultimately the individual has to take responsibility for himself. She let her life get out of control. And now, because of this fucked up culture we live in, I can't save her. Once she lost her mind, she got sucked into the healthcare system and there was no way out. There was no way out. Then I found out that she was on Megace.
What's that?
Megace is a drug that stimulates your appetite. Because she wasn't eating. The core of who she was wanted to die. Her appetite was gone. She didn't want to eat. She didn't want to live. So my father, when they said, we can put her on a drug that'll stimulate her appetite, said, yes, do that. Well, I heard this when I arrived in Ohio and just hit the fucking roof. Scott had been on Megace when he was dying of AIDS. That's who Megace is for. He was a 35-year-old man in his senses who wanted to live. You don't give Megace to an 80-year-old woman who's wasting away in a nursing home with Alzheimer's. Yet that's what they do. You see what I mean? So I had this huge, explosive fight with my father where I was just determined to get him to go over there and sign the papers to take her off the drug. And he didn't want to do it because he didn't want to lose her. I had to look him in the eye and say, this is not love, Dad. This is cruelty. And after they took her off Megace, she didn't live that much longer. I wonder if you guys have ever seen this house. If you haven't ever seen it, you'll just love it.
What is that?
It's just somebody's house. It's my favorite house in Los Angeles.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen this before.
Yeah, I think it's a remarkable place.
Would you bring all your friends here from like out of
I do.
town?
Every time somebody visits, I bring them here, yes. You should see it at Christmas. They put like a huge red bow around every statue. And then they have this huge blow-up black Santa and Mrs. Claus. They're black.
Does the sunshine give you pleasure?
Yeah. Yeah, it's lovely.
A nice, beautiful day.
It's a beautiful day. Yeah, this to me is the best of LA weather. Did you think I was going to say no to that?
I didn't know. I mean, you kind of hinted that when I asked you yesterday if you were, if things still make you happy, and you were like, absolutely. There's a ton of things that make me happy. So.
Yes, sure. No, it's a beautiful day. Absolutely.
Have you found yourself? Do you appreciate the little things too? Like the smell of, something you really love?
Absolutely. The question is it enough to keep going? Not is it pleasurable? He seems intent upon just filming us standing here, doesn't he? He's just waiting for us to get in the car?
I think so.
Okay.
Out of the Dream Cruiser, Jose. People didn't hate Victor enough once they see this fucking car.
Exactly.
Have you ever tried joining a chronic pain support group?
I haven't, no.
Is there any way in which you would ever consider doing that?
I'm not wanting to meet with people and talk about pain. I don't like having this conversation with you now. I don't want to talk about my pain.
You don't think it might be therapeutic or useful, or maybe you get some tips on how to better manage it?
I think I'm managing it very well.
You don't think you could be managing it better?
I don't know what you mean by managing it. If the pain doesn't go away, I don't understand.
Well,
not feeling angry that it's happening, not feeling saddened by it, frustrated, is that what you mean?
I think that would be part of it.
I'm coping with it the best I can, and I know I am.
When he made up his mind about something, he was too quick to think he'd seen all that there was to see about it and then to put it aside. He believes what he wants to believe, and he ain't gonna hear something else. So
I lost my sexuality when I stopped being able to be physically vital. There are no men that I'm attracted to who are attracted to me. None.
I don't think you can say it. There aren't any.
Do you really understand? Do you really understand what passion is, what sexuality is? So little? I mean,
it's not just the physical. Come on. Okay.
Are you kidding me?
Listen.
Have you ever had wildly passionate sex with a woman you weren't attracted to? Answer my question. I've had it now with your pretending you don't understand me and your camera fucking slipping. Okay. Have you ever had passionate sex with a woman you weren't attracted to? Yes or no?
I will answer your question, Victor, but it's not that simple.
Yes, it is.
I've never had sex with passionate, crazy sex with a girl I wasn't attracted to. But I've had crazy, passionate sex with a girl that society did not think was attractive.
So have I. I've had sex with men that society don't find attractive, and I've had great sex with them.
Right, and what I'm trying to understand
Who cares what society thinks? We're not talking about society. We're talking about my cock.
Right, but we're talking about your cock.
Your head is made of cement.
Well, I'm sorry that it is.
I don't care what society thinks is attractive. I'm attracted to what is attractive to me from here. Just like you are. I don't encounter any men anymore that I'm attracted to that are attracted to me. It doesn't happen anymore.
Yet.
I haven't had sex for 8 years. Believe me, I understand where you're both coming from. Believe me, I do. But it's not real. It's not real. It's just you projecting your desire for me to be happy into a fantasy. Falling in love at 52 when you're out of shape and gay and don't feel sexual is impossible. Trust me, guys, I know who I am. So something happened with the theater and we can't have this space on Thursday until 4. Does anybody have a problem with 4 to 7? You can't do it? You can't do it. But I'm thinking we're probably just going to cancel it. I'm thrilled that you're upset about that.
No, you're kidding.
No, I'm really not.
Not
I'm not thinking about canceling it.
You what?
We'll talk about it.
And not having another class at all?
Well, that's one of the things I wanted to talk to you about quickly. A couple of you have emailed me and said, are we going to keep this going or whatever? I think we should skip Thursday entirely, which is good because that'll make you want me a little more. And I want to be desired. Think about whether you want to continue.
Where do you see this going?
Oh, I wouldn't speculate. I really was expecting some crazy, nutty, dilettante types. And I'm very pleased. I mean, you did a really good job, Brendan. Understand that you're not interested in how pleased or impressed I am with you.
I am.
But the fact that you pulled this together so quickly and that you got these people who are interesting and alive and committed, I thoroughly enjoyed myself.
Great.
You know, I assume you could tell that.
Yes, absolutely.
You know, I had a very good time.
That was our goal.
Yeah.
So I started off to do this documentary about me investigating and challenging the reasons why a man wanted to end his life, and then giving that man the opportunity to enjoy what he loved most in life one last time. Then I got to know Victor and really, I don't know, fell for him. I don't know how you say that, but I mean, I care about Victor an enormous amount. And then I saw Victor be alive and really love this class. And like, he's talking about continuing the acting class with all the students, and the students are really into it. Bill was talking about producing his play, and Victor would direct it. We have to keep pushing those things on him because I think that's the reason he's still here. He's already 5 or 6 weeks past his death date. It's mid-October. The play gained some momentum. Bill came through in a lot of ways. And so Victor started reading people, kind of having a little mini audition from his play. And he decided he wanted Bill to play one of the characters, and that he kind of wanted me to play one of the characters, even though I'm not totally right for it. And then he's reading different women for these other parts. So Victor seemed very energetic and motivated to do this. And that's why I kind of eased off of the filming, because part of this documentary is asking him a lot of hard questions about suicide, and I don't want to focus on that while he's, you know, actively focusing on his thing.
It was like a full-time job, man. I mean, we were in rehearsal basically for this play, and then, you know, he just kind of fell out of love with what he had done.
I mean, I've been doing it for Bill. I love Bill, and he's a wonderful actor. He did wonderful work on that role. He was going to be terrific in it. I know he was going to be terrific in it. And I really wanted to do it for him, as a gift for him.
It's exhausting to almost even think about the whole thing, because it was so, I mean, that motherfucker, dude, he was dragging his feet the whole time. I was to the point where I knew that the conversation was gonna have to happen, where I was gonna have to say, Vic, listen, man, you need to do what you need to do, but like, I can't be a part of this anymore because I'm done. Like, I'm like at zero. Like, I gave you everything that I had to give, you have. And now it's like, it's really taken a toll on me. I am grateful, stunned really is more accurate, by the unconditional affection and the loving support for my autonomy and for my sanity from friends and students and family who seem to have either no limits or an astonishing willingness to keep pushing their limits farther and farther away, stretching their boundaries to share my struggle and to show me their love, regardless of how it may hurt. When I read that, I realized he really did understand, like, the demands that he was putting on the people around him. And it wasn't an ignorant situation where he was just doing this and it was about him and, you know, whatever. He was totally conscious and aware that it was taxing.
I feel tormented by the fact that I'm going to cause so much pain. And I don't know what to do about it. Because I don't think I can keep going to prevent the people who are going to be sad from being sad.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel really guilty. I've been in tears a lot the last couple of days.
You've been in tears?
A lot the last couple of days. You know, how long is it going to take for you to get everything on tape? How long is it going to take for you to say to me, okay, you can go? As the filmmaker, not as Brendan, who cares for me.
Okay.
As the filmmaker, how much time do you need to get what you want on tape?
A couple weeks, maybe 3 at the most.
A couple of weeks.
Yeah, 2 to 3 weeks, I think, if I can, you know, I want to spend a couple days with you and talk about all the questions that people want to ask people that are going to stop living. Do you feel some obligation to me?
I wouldn't use the word obligation. There's something about the way you're investing in me and the way you're seeking to understand this experience that I'm in that has made me feel very close to you very quickly. And the other day when you said, you know, that a couple of people had warned you to not get involved in this, that was very profound for me.
Really?
Because I feel that way too. I don't want you to get drawn into all of the pain that
I'm more concerned about the pain I'm going to be causing you.
I'm in a very emotional place. And I feel all this love coming from everybody to me. And that matters a lot. More than anything. It upset me when you said that, you know, you thought this would be the most important thing you would do might be the most important thing you would do with your life.
That's true, Victor.
How can that be? You're 27 years old, sweetie. You might get married, raise children, and there's so much that's going to happen in your life that's going to be meaningful. I don't mean to say this won't be meaningful. I hope it is terribly meaningful.
No, everybody gets married and has kids, Victor. Nobody does this.
Well, then don't say the most meaningful thing, the most important thing. Say maybe one of the more interesting things or one of the more usual things. But don't say the most important thing.
I think it might be. I really do.
It upsets me.
Why?
I don't know. I don't know why.
I meant that in a good way, Vic.
Oh,
I meant you're
sweetie,
like.
I feel complimented by it. That's not what makes me sad about it. I feel cowardly. That's what's causing all the guilt. I feel like I should be able to handle the pain.
You've handled the pain for
I
an
saw a
extremely
woman on Oprah yesterday who lost her arm to a flesh-eating virus. Did you see that?
No.
You know, she got like a paper cut at work, and like 25 hours later, after just this horrendous pain, I just kept thinking, I wonder if her shoulder still hurts. You know, she had a blouse on that was like folded in the way people do who are missing a limb. And I just, you know, I saw myself as ridiculous for feeling envious of her for a few minutes, thinking, you know, well, at least she's not in ongoing pain.
I don't know what else I can do to keep this guy alive. I'm doing everything I can, and it's not good enough, it feels like. So, I mean, I don't know what letting go means, but I'm obviously not gonna stop.
Do you feel like you're in the experience of trying to talk me out of going?
Partly.
How big a part?
This is gonna be hard to say.
Yeah.
There have been times where I've allowed myself to get my hopes up. So part of me felt like this was this subplot of maybe you'll change your mind, you know?
I mean, maybe maybe in spite of everything I've said, I will. I don't think so, but it's possible, I guess. Sure.
And to feel that I was playing some part in that, you know.
Feels good.
I mean, you wrote in your blog that if you hadn't have met me when you did, you would have been gone by the end of July.
It's true. I was set. And then I went all the way around that whole loop again. Well, if I was teaching, well, maybe if I was directing, maybe, and see what I really discovered, and I really thank you for that. I mean it so sincerely, Brendan. You gave me the opportunity to really discover in action that it wasn't my life I'm putting an end to, it's my body. Because when I met you, I sort of had them tangled up. I was sort of tangling up the stuff I was unhappy with in my life with the pain in my body. And what I've come to over the last couple of months is I'm really doing this because I can't take the pain in my body anymore. I can easily tolerate my life, easily.
I look forward to my body becoming ash. It's strange to feel that way about my body now. The problem is, I don't feel quite that way about my life. But we only get the one vessel, and the way that the one impacts the other is cruel.
Oh my goodness.
Is that any better?
Excuse me?
Is that any better?
Yeah, the hot water just feels good on my neck and back. I do this like every day. Don't I seem a lot older than I did a few minutes ago?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah. I feel like an old guy laying in the tub.
I'm touched that you would allow me to do this.
I don't think it's all that intimate, do you?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes. I mean, it's more.
I mean, it doesn't feel, doesn't feel that private. My neck hurts and I'm soaking it in hot water. Well, this is a perfect opportunity for them to see my amazing penis, but I don't think that's what the movie's about.
Yeah, that's a different kind of movie.
Exactly. Well, no, sweetie, at my age, believe me, it's not a different kind of movie. No, it's not. It's the same movie about an old, broken down old man, trust me. Just because we're used to everybody in our culture getting old and losing all control and all dignity, just because that's the norm, doesn't mean I have to buy into it. And hey, anybody who wants to go all the way to the wall should go to the wall. That's what choice means. I went onto Google and typed in, painless ways to die. And this book came up, this apparently famous New York Times bestseller came up, and it was like, oh, perfect. If you're gonna kill yourself by asphyxiating yourself, then you need a small bag that fits over your head. You take a bunch of pills and you sort of tie it tight, and then, that's a little creepy to me because it doesn't seem like it'd be painless. But if you're gonna do the helium thing, use a much larger bag because you wanna fill it with helium. And then you just wanna put it over your head, and before you do, you let all the air out, and then just breathe in the helium. You have a tube going into the hood from the helium container, so it's replenishing the helium. And then you just breathe normally, and in like a minute, you're totally forever brain dead. So, it's pretty painless. And then you're just in there, once your brain is dead, then your body, then your organs and your blood and everything, which need oxygen, aren't getting any oxygen. They're only getting helium. So like 10 minutes later, your heart stops, all your functions are over. That's it.
Melissa was yelling at me last night saying, you and Bill need to have an intervention with him, you have to stop this. But I'm spending every single day with him.
Yeah.
And I'm asking him really personal, in-depth questions, and we're exploring his pain as thoroughly as I know how.
Yeah.
I don't know what else you want me to do. I'm not gonna have this dude committed.
There was one friend here in New York who was definitely trying to rally the troops to intervene with authorities. Say, I'm aware of a friend who's seriously talking about suicide and maybe have them intervene.
It would have just caused so much more pain for him to forcibly extricate him from his home and lock him up. I think that would have been just cruel and unusual punishment.
Yeah.
We could have had him institutionalized. But what's the point? He lost the will to live.
So I'm thinking D-Day is Thursday.
Really?
Yeah.
Like this Thursday?
This Thursday. I'm thinking Thursday or Friday at the latest, yeah.
Really?
That's what I'm thinking, honey. Yeah.
Why?
Just feels right. I just feel ready. Again, if I change my mind on Wednesday, then I'll be here for another couple of days or another couple of weeks or another couple of months or another couple of years. I don't, my body is saying Thursday or Friday, that feels right.
Okay.
Yeah.
That makes me really sad.
Well, sweetie, you're going to be sad regardless. Whether it's this Thursday or next Thursday or 3 weeks from Thursday, it's...
I know, but this Thursday, if you did do it this Thursday, that means that I would only be seeing you for a couple more days. If it's next Thursday, well, then that's
it, yeah. I just can't keep postponing. I can't keep saying, oh, I'll have this one more conversation or this one more. I'm just ready to commit, as it were. Well, I spent the morning sort of looking through stuff and looking at some little mementos and deciding some little things I wanted to send to people. And I thought I'd give you a choice.
Oh my goodness. Right now?
So if you want to turn the camera over to that table, you can.
Okay. All right.
You could have my dad's dog tags from World War II.
Oh my God.
Okay. Or you can have my mother's father's watch, which doesn't work.
Your mother, could it be made to work?
Maybe.
Okay.
Or you can have a little Pinocchio that my Aunt Elizabeth sent me when I was 10 years old. Or you can have this little pin that I used to wear when I was in my 20s that said, I think I'd enjoy this conversation more if you were holding my dick. Actually, you can have this in addition to one of the others.
Okay.
I think the dog tags are a little
Then I
more
choose
special.
the dog tags.
I could see you actually wearing the dog tags. Maybe.
Wow.
That's very butch.
How's it look?
Put it on the inside of the shirt.
Really?
Yeah. Otherwise, it looks like a necklace.
Okay.
Yeah, if you miss me or you want to feel close to me, then you can wear those because my father wore those all through World War II. They belong to him. I think they're totally butch.
They're awesome.
Yeah, I think they're sexy.
And people wear these to clubs and stuff,
Yeah, I do that.
The rosary. Oh,
Do
yeah.
that?
They put on the dog tags.
I see.
But they're all fake dog tags because nobody.
But
actually...
I think, to me, it's cooler if you wear it under the shirt.
But then
and then
nobody
when
wasn't wearing them, right?
Well, the sexy girl who's tearing your shirt off knows you're wearing them.
Ooh.
You get what I'm saying?
I do.
Yeah.
How was it with Bill?
It was really nice. It was really nice. We had a really nice visit.
How did it end?
He left.
Did it have the same finality feeling as the last time?
No. We were happy to say, well, maybe we'll get together again. And maybe we won't. We'll see. It was nice to leave it that way, as opposed to goodbye. The goodbyes are really overrated.
I'd appreciate a goodbye.
To me, the goodbye is just some kind of odd formality. This is what matters. The contact, not the goodbye. Not the goodbye.
Okay. I have to...
I'm happy to say goodbye to you, sweetie, if you want a goodbye. I'm not saying I won't say goodbye to you. I'm just saying...
I have to acknowledge that it's the last time I'm ever going to see you.
Why?
because that is really sad and meaningful to me.
Well, you came into my life in order to feel pain. I mean, in order to cause yourself pain, I think, you know? I mean, I think you took on this project understanding that it was going to bring up great emotional stuff for you. And I identify with that and I admire it.
I think I didn't do a whole lot of actual digging and processing of what was going to happen.
Yes. Well, you said you had some friends who said, don't do this, it's going to hurt. And you said, well, I'm going to do it anyway.
Yeah, people warned me, for sure.
Yeah.
But it's
such a good boy.
It's the experience. It's the experience.
It is the experience. That's what it is. I mean, that's why I so poo-poo the goodbye.
It just occurred to me, you know, when you and I would be with him, not only was he dealing with his depression and his pain and his sexless existence, as he put it, but he was also dealing with everybody's grieving, you know, and I never really thought about that before. It never occurred to me. Well, we're outside Victor's condo.
Right.
And this might be our penultimate day together with Victor.
I had an absolutely amazing orgasm this afternoon, and it was like, wow, that was the last one. That was something. That was a good note to end on. It was like, you know, kabang, kapow. Yeah, it was pretty cool.
I mean, you're talking to me right now with the full expectation that in 24 hours, you will cease to exist.
I don't feel like I'm dying at all. Like I'm going to die. It doesn't feel like that at all.
It's interesting.
That has such a negative connotation. He died.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel that way. I'm like, oh, thank God. I said goodbye to everybody. I handled it with integrity, and now I can get out of this fucking corpse.
I'd like to come up with some bullshit for you to have to take care of tomorrow.
Sweetie, I understand. You've already established yourself as the king of the stalling tactic.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm naive. I mean, I didn't expect to find you both so ashen-faced. I really didn't.
I gotta go. Yeah.
I'm gonna stick around for a little while longer.
Yeah, no,
that's
yes.
all right.
Absolutely. I mean, well.
Eesh.
I mean, for me.
Well, sweetie, I have thoroughly enjoyed getting to know you. You're gonna have to hug him. He's gonna be sad.
Oh, I'll be there with him. But
I know. And you're the one that shared the experience with him, so your hugs are gonna mean more to him than anybody else's hugs. Chelsea will hug him and suck his cock and hug him and
she'll do it a different way.
ride his penis and all that stuff. But you were here through most of it, so your hugs are gonna have a special kind of a potency
Yeah.
that he's not gonna be able to get someplace else. He's just a mess.
He is a mess.
It's outrageous.
I'm gonna go.
You are intending to remain among the living, so eat enough, get enough sleep and sunshine, and.
Okay.
All right, bye,
Okay,
sweetie.
thanks.
Oh, sweetie, I'd be such a liar if I said I wasn't gratified that you're so sad, but I really do wish it wasn't so painful for you.
It's painful for me now, and you're not even fucking gone. You know, that's what I'm worried about.
Well, you're looking it right in the eye now, honey. I mean, when I'm gone, you'll.
But I can't talk to you.
No, you won't be able to talk to me about it.
That's what I want to do.
Yeah, no, well, you can't talk to me about my own demise. If I were here, then there would be no demise.
I kind of have been talking to you
It's a
about it.
catch-22.
Yeah, but I mean, I can't talk to you about what's going on with me. I'm gonna try and eat a turkey sandwich while I'm crying.
Are you hungry?
I don't know.
Oh.
Try and eat it. I made it. It smells good.
Hey, mister, you're on, you're being filmed even as we speak.
Hey, Brendan, how are you?
Peter, I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing okay.
He was weeping earlier, Peter. He was in full-out weeping.
Thank you, Victor.
It was.
But this morning in my car.
You were crying in your car?
Yeah. But I just did want to say this. In case you are surprised and you find yourself on the other side going, wow, there is something after this.
Oh, uh-huh.
Can you find a way to, rattle a paper?
Oh, honey, all I can say is you and who else. I've gotten this request from 12 people. take my clothes out of the closet and lay them on the bed, you know, turn the water on in the kitchen, rattle a paper. So that's why you called me, because you wanted to tell me to rattle a paper?
No, I wanted to call you to tell you that I love you, and that was my excuse. And it just seems so freaking arbitrary that I can call you tonight, but not tomorrow night.
I get you.
Painful, and it's just too weird.
I know, it's kooky, sweetie, isn't it?
Yeah.
Whereas if I got killed in a car crash, you wouldn't think anything of it. You'd be like, oh, how tragic, he's gone.
Yeah.
Well, honey, I am open to the possibility that I'll change my mind when push comes to shove. If and when I go, I'm going to post the blog right before I do it, so.
Yeah, I know.
If the blog doesn't appear, you'll know I'm still here.
And I'll call.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Super.
It'd be fine. I think you're stalling a bit.
Yeah, I am. You know what? I'm not going to do it anymore. I love you. You know that. Good luck.
Thanks. I'm hoping I won't need it, but thank you in case I do. If there's a higher power who's going to judge me and he doesn't like cocksuckers, I'm in big trouble. But I'm not expecting to have to deal with that.
All right.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Oh my God, he only had like 1 okay and 2 bye-byes. I mean, some of the women have like 7 okays and 14 bye-byes. I love the idea that when you walk out the door, I'm not going to know if I'm going to see you again, because then we don't say goodbye. I don't want to hug you and say goodbye.
Yesterday was supposed to be the day that Victor had picked to end his life. I called him at about 6 and he said, "You don't need to come over. I've had an agonizing day, but I've been weeping with my friend David and Anne-Marie, and I've decided I can't do it tonight."
I was having so much fun with Anne-Marie and David. We were just having a blast like we always do. Even though I was sobbing through some of it, I mean, I was just having a wonderful time. I mean, I like feeling my feelings, you know. And that just felt like, well, you know, I can't bail on this.
What he said was it was Bill and I, again, that are keeping him around, and he can't do it because he feels like he'd be betraying us or causing us too much pain, and he has parental feelings towards us. I know he's not trying to make me feel responsible for his life. He'd be pissed if he knew that I was feeling that, but it's hard not to feel a little responsibility for his life right now.
It felt like your subconscious came out and wouldn't let you do something.
Right.
And that's what I had kind of been trying to poke and prod at for months.
Yeah, but I'm sure I said Thursday night, tomorrow I'm going to be horribly depressed, didn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last night was a very happy night. Score one for Team Brendan and Bill. We won last night's round.
I mean, the emotional roller coaster of what his reality was. You know, just all these like moments of, oh, maybe we're breaking through. And it was fucking torture. He called me on the phone. He's like, "I'm not going to be able to do this." And I was like, I just didn't have anything to say to him. The conversation literally was like 9 seconds on the phone. And it was like, "I'm not going to be able to do this." I don't know what I said. I was like, okay. It was just completely devoid of any sort of like relief, or I was pissed. You know, I was like, fuck you. And, you know, of all the emotions that you would think you'd feel for someone who you love so much, saying that they're not going to kill themselves, being angry at them is like, but I was just done.
I mean, if I have 6 false starts, I'm going to have to pay attention to what that really means.
Well, I was excited about what the 1 false start meant.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, everybody was. All the people that I told were excited, and that's what caused a big part of what caused my surge of self-directed anger. It's like, oh, you know, you're letting these people get all excited for nothing. This is still going to happen, and it's going to happen shortly. But I'm not going to make the mistake I made last time of hanging out with everybody I love the day of, because I need to kind of detach in my mind if I'm going to actually do it. So I'm not going to be under the influence of my people that I love crying and telling me how much they're going to miss me, because that just doesn't help for taking off at all.
Does that mean you don't want to see me again?
I don't, sweetie, I always want to see you. That's the conflict. I just love you. But if I'm going to do this, I need to stay away from you for a day or two, probably. Yeah.
Hi, you all. I love you. Vic is now in a bodiless state. I didn't want to tolerate the ongoing pain anymore. I've left my body behind, and I now live in a bodiless state. That sounds fantastic. In fact, heavenly.
Forget about the streets paved with gold and all the other stuff. To be free of this body will be amazing and enough.
I feel the approach of relief, of release, and also sadness and some shame that I couldn't adapt to the pain to keep you from your sorrow.
For all of you who have understood and loved me as I needed to be loved, you've given me the greatest gift I could think of.
For those of you who had not the inclination to understand my choice and accept it, please try and forgive me. It was never my intention to hurt you.
Certainly everyone agrees I've given more than ample time, emotion, and explanation to making my view clear and my feelings understandable.
I've had so many long, outrageous, I'm gonna have to do that again.
Long, outrageous, funny, difficult, comforting, contentious, honest, provocative, nutty, spiritual, unique stream of consciousness conversations with so many of you planning for my departure. These talks were a peeling away of emotional, intellectual, and spiritual layers for me, as I guess they were for you too, which I truly, truly loved.
I love you, Vic.
I love you, Vic.
I love you, Vic.
I love you, Vic. So that's it. Vic is gone. I thought this morning that we had gotten through it. I mean, I understand the reasons. Obviously, I've spent so many hours with Vic. I understand the reasons, but I still don't know that I agree. Yeah, people are calling now.
I got it on a lot of levels. But then after he did it, doubt crept in for sure. I wish it had ended differently, I guess, but it was almost like the ending was already written and I was just kind of like, happened to be there for it,
I did not want this for him, but he's a very rational, forceful human being. And that sense of what's in his own best interest, not what's in my own best interest for my life, was very compelling.
The last year of his life was all about explaining for himself and to those that he loved why he was making this choice. I mean, it wasn't a little wanton act.
It doesn't make it any less sad for me, but he did kind of help you through it and didn't kind of leave you alone with it. So in that sense, the way he did it, I'm kind of grateful for.
It was what he wanted. And I love him enough to give him up to that.
Very angry about it, angry about how he did it. I thought it was very cruel to announce it a year prior to him doing, and then the blogs and blogging about it. During that time, a lot of times I was like, stop talking about it and just do it then, if you're gonna do it.
In retrospect, when I pull myself back, and it's been what, a year and a half, a year now, you can get a little cynical about it and go, this was just like one big stage-managed final exit that was his last little, to humanity.
The thing about Victor is maybe not everybody would do what he did, but Victor did just about everything on his own terms. So in that regard, how many of us go out on our own terms?
Stop trying to read my mind. You're clueless.
Stop trying to read your mind. I'm clueless.
Stop trying to read my mind. You are clueless.
You're giving up already.
I'm giving up already.
You're giving up already.
I'm giving up already?
Oh, you putting it back on me.
I'm putting it back on you.
You don't know what to do with me.
I don't know what to do with it. I'm unwilling to do it,
Oh,
and I know what to do with you. The way you pretend not to understand is infuriating.
The way I pretend not to understand is infuriating.
Yes!
Yes.
Yes!
Yes.
Yes!
Yes.
Yes! Yes!
Yes.
Finally!